everybody. It is Tuesday, June 8th, 2021, and that means it is time for the Monster Maverick Show. And yeah, I just sat down right as the time was ticking over to the live stream. Apparently, I had forgotten to go live on air, but I'm here. I am streaming. I think everything is good. We've got green bars on OBS, and I'm lining up in the PalNet Discord. So I think we're all good. And I did remember to hit record. Thank you, Kim. I hit it a little bit late, but it is working. So we are recording. We will be posting this on the YouTubes and the podcasts and all that stuff. So I'm just retweeting the MSP Waves tweet. And if you've never been here before, well, everybody in the audience has been here before. I know that. But if you're listening on a replay and if you're a new listener or a new watcher, this is Monster Maverick, the Monster Maverick Show, which is all about the Splinterlands world. In the audience, we've got Yabba P. Matt, one of our illustrious founders of the Splinterlands game. I'm Neil. I run along with my partner Gerber. We run Deck 101 and Deck 404. Deck 101 is the card buying service where you send a card to Deck 101 and you get 101% of its DEC burn value straight to your Hive Engine wallet, 3 seconds later. It's great if you have a lot of cards that you want to sell quickly and you don't want to sit around on the market for. Deck 404 is our account playing service. If you have a bunch of idle cards that you want to put to work in the game, then you can, talk to us and we'll get you set up on delegating cards to one of our accounts, and then I put a player into there. So Biz wants to know what was the special deal. So as Rondon says, he had to officially recognize the term Splintoshis. That was the deal. So Splintoshis, let's see, if we go deck USD HE, that gives us the Gerbot command of the Dark Energy Crystal Price Theta Link. So Ron beat me to it. So Ron is our producer. He runs all things MSP Waves, which is where the show has its live broadcast and then recorded, and then it goes out to YouTube and podcast networks and all that kind of stuff. So if you want a show, talk to Rondon, because they're always looking to add more shows. There's plenty of space on the calendar, but whenever we have idle time, it's the Jukebox music streaming service. Rondon says he's setting up some cool stuff, which is great. But you can watch on MSP Waves, on Vim, on Theta. There are the links. But yeah, so you're putting a hold on onboarding. What? What the what? See, this is the kind of thing you should tell your DJs before I go ahead and say stuff like that. But yeah, so it has been an eventful week in the Splinterlands world. So 10 days ago, something like that, we got the SPS announcement that the governance token is going to live on Binance Smart Chain, which is fantastic. I think that's one of the best moves that the team has made just overall, like in the history of the game, which is now 3 years old, amazingly enough. So the SPS token will be living primarily on Binance Smart Chain, and it'll be used in game as well on the Hive blockchain, so it'll have some interoperability. But I think the majority of it will live on BSC. And that has opened up the world of Splinterlands to the wider crypto and gaming, mainly crypto, I think, world. And because, nobody's heard of Hive. And the few people who have heard of it don't like it. And there's various historical reasons for that, which don't really matter right now. But, it's just even though the technology of Hive is fantastic, we've got delegated proof of stake, we've got 3-second blocks, we've got text in blocks, we've got custom JSON being broadcast, it's all these advantages, but in terms of crypto market perception, it's very much not in the top tier. So it's just one of those weird things where building a better mousetrap doesn't mean the world is going to beat a path to your door. So by bridging the game itself onto Binance Smart Chain through the governance token, it basically puts Splinterlands on the map in a way that it wasn't before. So that's been all great. And if you tuned in last week, you watched me buy a second region for myself. So what had happened was, so I bought one region during the land pre-sales, the promotional pre-sales back in December, I think it was. And yeah, I think that gets yes, like I think that gets an artifact based on like hive prices, being volatile along with the price of dark energy crystals. But so I'd bought a region for huge discount in the very early pre-sales. I was crowded out of the first round of the pre-sale, so I got my guaranteed spot in the second pre-sale. And as compensation for getting crowded out, I also got a legendary totem, which was nice. But since then, I had been thinking, it's like, well, do I want another region? The more details we've gotten about how lands is going to work, the more I've realized that one region is not going to have everything. With all the permutations of land types and rarities and everything, it's going to take, two or three regions really to have at least one of each thing. So I've been kind of teetering back and forth on whether or not to buy a second region, that is. So what tipped me over the scales, though, was the SPS announcement. The expansion of the game into Binance Smart Chain and bringing in that whole crowd of potential, users and partners and all these things that getting onto an Ethereum type chain allows is pushed me over the edge. It gave me a little bit of FOMO, right? So I decided last week to go ahead and buy another region. And it's a good thing I did, because if we look at the shop, we are down to 10,507 at this particular moment. So if you remember from last week when I was buying my region, that I think took it from 22,000 down to 21,000. It's been a week since then, exactly, because I did it during the show last week, and now we're down to 10,507. So roughly 11,000 plots have been sold in the past 7 days, which is a lot. That's even at maximum discounts, right? That's 15,000 times 11, which is a bunch, times 11. So that's $165,000 minimum going into the game from whoever. So that's not too shabby. I'm sure Yaba's pretty happy with that. Splinterlands influencer, maybe. I remember on a video that Taskmaster did one time, he referred to me as Neil of Splinterlands fame. I was like, am I famous? I don't know. That's news to me. But yeah, maybe I am the Splinterlands influencer. I don't know. Yaba says he had to rush to make sure the sold out message was added for when they run out. Yeah. So last week I had said that maybe in 10 to 14 days that things would be sold out, and I thought that was an aggressive target, but it looks like I might be right on. So if you want lands, I mean the time to get in is now. Yaba and Aggro have both said that if there are any further land additions in the future, we're talking in the far future, like many years. But for now, this is going to be it. And I think it was Flowey pointed me over to a great site, which is Splinter Cards. Now I remember when this first launched, I took a look at it, but I haven't really looked since then. And they have added a whole bunch of stuff, which is pretty fantastic. And here's a land page that they have where they talk about they have these blurbs about the expansion philosophy, which is nice. But the main thing is that it has all the info that we've gotten so far. It has all of the the land types, the categories, the rarities, all listed out. So it's, let me zoom out a little bit here so I can get everything on one screen. So that is super helpful, actually. Do new right here. So I've never heard of this user before. Thox, Tehox, as the person who maintains this, but really good job on all of this. In fact, I'm gonna send him. He's got these little donation buttons. I'm gonna send him 50 Hive here. Oh, he does Hive Signer. Ugh. You gotta do keychain integration, my man. But let's just do that manually then. Send Hive to Thox 50. Splinter Cards donation. Oh, you can't even see this on the stream, but trust me, I am. So yeah, Paul, I was actually gonna mention that as well. He's got a bunch of tools here. So Peak Monsters has their tools. You can look up pack values, and the Monster Market has their tools. I think SplintX has tools as well. I'm not 100% sure about that, but they have a nice pack estimated expected value calculator here, which is pretty great. Now I have one of these in my own spreadsheets, but this is way easier. Go into packs and loot chests and all this kind of stuff. So a lot of good information here. So I think this is actually pretty great. And I was looking at the pack calculator, and if you look up here, we've got this nice little toolbar which tells us that 1,000 DEC is at 965, so 965 Splintoshi, which Ron agrees with officially now. Untamed pack EV is 233. So that's an interesting number because a pack is $2, and if DEC is trading below the 1,000 Splintoshi level, then you can actually buy DEC. You can actually buy DEC on the market and get a little bit of extra arbitrage there. So if you go through the calculator here, you do a 500 pack because that's going to be the max the max discount, so you have the cheapest card price. And you can tell if you want to use both potions, no potions, guild discounts. So Misfits has a 2% discount, and I'm going to say free potions because I have a bunch. So theoretically, I could go ahead and buy 1,000 Untamed packs buy 500 Untamed packs for $1,000 but you actually get 575 packs, and do the potions will apply, and the expected value is a profit of $341. That is the flippening right there, but that assumes that you're using both potions and those potions are free. Also notice that the very bottom right hand very bottom right hand value there, $380, is legendary gold foils. So there's going to be a lot of variation, a lot of variability in the actual results. I should test this on. I was actually thinking about doing that before the show. So, but then I have the potions on multiple accounts and it was too complicated. I might make a post about that. But this is with free potions. If we have to pay for the potions, and we calculate, then the numbers change a little bit, but we're still into profit. So EV is positive regardless of whether you get free potions or pay for potions. If you don't use potions, then it doesn't work out. So we end up with a minus 273 here. But the fact that we have tools like this, you should test it before and after to see if it makes a difference. Yeah, that's a great idea. Ag, just throwing money at the problem. So, just one little tweak to this is that cost of 500 purchased packs, $1,000, that's not quite true if DEC is under 1,000 Splintoshis. So, there's a little bit of extra profit in there from the difference between the par value of DEC and the market value when we're below par. So, all to the good, and when we go over to the shop, we can see that we are halfway through the last 100,000 eligible for an airdrop. So since Ag and Yamba are both here, our illustrious founders, I want to take this moment to lobby for a final airdrop. So when Untamed sells out, it should be a special promotional card, even if it has no value, like no game value at all. Just a little status thing saying, I was here, I was part of Untamed. Here's my final airdrop. It could even be like a title or something. I don't know. I just think that it would be nice to have. Now, next Dice airdrop will be announced soon. A bucket card. Yeah, let's see. How is Dice doing? Ooh, we are getting kind of close. Another 10,000 dice there until the next airdrop. Now, we do know that the next Untamed airdrop should be a life epic monster, and the dice, the dice are all 1-mana monsters, so you can kick it. Bucket does nothing. You can kick the bucket. That is true. So anyway, I'm just saying it'd be a nice thing to have, even if it has no gameplay value. Just status, saying I was part of the Untamed airdrops. In fact, I'll even go one better. Instead of just having just the same level of status symbol for everybody, you could have like different levels of the useless thing, and depending on how many airdrops you got. So if you were in from the beginning, you got all however many 15 or 14 airdrops, then you get the max level of whatever it is, and pro rata down the line if you came into the game later. So I just think that'd be fun. But yeah, we are due for an untamed airdrop here once we hit the next 52,000 packs, which, was going to come much sooner than a lot of people expected. So, I had made that double up market saying, are we going to sell out by September or something? And clearly we're going to blow that away. I would be very surprised if we get out of June with Untamed, not being sold out. So, especially when we're into this flippening kind of area that we are here, packs tend to sell really quickly when that happens. And later today, I think I'm going to be buying buying a 500 pack, of Untamed, because I was like, so I have an Untamed max level deck if I were to combine everything. But most of my Untamed are out working, for me in Deck 404 accounts. So we're not getting out of June, ominous. So, in my personal game playing account, I don't have very many Untamed. I've got a few. I made sure I had all the opportunity monsters. I made sure I had a couple special utility monsters that I felt I had to have. But earlier today I was playing a match, I was like, wow, I really need a shield bearer in this match. But I don't have, so I just have like the level 1 virtual. So yeah, I have Jotun. I have all the Untamed. I have all the dice summoners. Well, I've got a full dice set in my personal account. But there are a lot of Untamed cards that I don't have available to me in my personal playing account. Especially, since I joined the Misfits a week or so ago, they really need, it's me and Solo Miner who are playing the gold foil phrase. And, I have virtually no gold foil Untamed. All of my gold foils are alpha and beta. So he can rent me some. I am really looking forward to the new rental system. I'm going to be using that a lot. And, hope that comes out sooner rather than later. I know on I think it was the last show, Yaba mentioned that he had sent over some stuff to Jarvi for finalized kind of stuff. But, it can't come soon enough for the new rental system. But, I'm seeing in Matt, when rental? Exactly, when rental. So, SPS being on Binance Smart Chain, and those people finding out about Splinterlands, and then we have this whole lands expansion, and then we have a functional game. The people who've been coming into the Discord have been like amazed at the level of development that Splinterlands has. So, I think that really gives credence to what I call Yaba's strong words a couple AMAs ago, where he said that, there are a lot of games out there that are much worse that have been getting a lot of retail attention and investor attention. So that is true and is noticeable when those outside people come in and they see, oh, here's, you can play your game and you can rent your cards and you can speculate on DEC and you can buy lands for, granted, lands expansion is, 6 months away, but still it's coming. So it's just night and day difference between what Splinterlands has and what a lot of other blockchain games have. So he's texting and driving. Don't worry about it. So yeah. So a couple things from last week's AMA that I wanted to hit was that there was an estimate of about 200 SPS per million airdrop points. And I made a little calculator in Google Sheets, which I made a post about for doing your calculations. But I also noticed, splintercards.com, they have an airdrop calculator tool, which is, it's all the same thing. But I actually don't like this format, but it, calculates the same thing. So, that is a rough guesstimation. Yeah, per day, I think is the way that quote works. Yes, per day estimate. Bold face estimate. All disclaimers apply. But yeah, so I'm since I got another region, I am looking at about 60 million airdrop points. So that'll be a lot. Times 200, so that's 12 billion SPS. The most. Okay, so so Biz brings up an important point. So there's a new team member apparently named Waffles Kitty, and she was brought on the AMA last week for a few minutes, and the Aggro asked her what her favorite card was, and she said the Byzantine Kitty, which was just like a dagger to my heart, because it's just like that, it's so it's so cutesy, and I mean, the card is great. Like having the tank heal and the +2 speed and the aim true, or the whatever it's called, where you can't miss. Functionality fantastic, but the artwork is just so out of not matching with everything else. And to some degree, it's like, okay, you want to appeal to a wider audience. Maybe having a little bit of cuteness there makes sense. Because I would say that the style of Splinterlands cards has all been fairly consistent in that sort of sharp. I don't even know what you would call it. I want to call it a masculine style, but so having that other style, I can see having some benefits. Oh, Ag wants to come on air. Okay, I will let him come on air. Oh, he has some alpha to leak. All right. Let's see. Oops. Welcome, Aggro. Can you hear me? Or I brought you on air. You are muted on your end, though. So let's see if you can get your technology to work. Testing 1, 2, 3. When you say you have alpha to leak, that you get on air. Worst. Yeah. All right. So while Aggie is getting his technical stuff set up, there were two other things that came from the AMA that I wanted to share. So one was this screenshot. So this is going to be the new rental. You can see in the right hand side, it says sell card, rent card. So the integration for the new rental system is on its way, which is pretty exciting. From what I understand of the I'm good, Ron. Don't worry about it. Ag will get his stuff set up or not. So, from what I understand, the major advantage to the new rental system is a card liquidity. So, if I'm a player and I've rented like a Spirit of the Forest, level 3. Oh, I heard something.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I was going to let you finish your sentence, but I got some sweet alpha, and I don't know how long I'm going to be able to connect.
Okay.
So you finish your sentence and finish what you're going to say, and then say Aggie, and I'll respond.
Okay. So, user is renting a level 3 Spirit of the Forest. If the owner pulls that for whatever reason, then another card gets swapped in automatically. User doesn't have to do anything, doesn't have any interruptions with gameplay. So that is a huge advantage to the rental system, where under the old system, which is the current system, every different agreement is a different contract interaction, and it's just a lot more management. So if that is done for you on the back end, then I think that's going to improve things quite a bit. Now, Aggie, what do you have for us today?
Hey, Neil. So there's this little thing, and it's called a Splinter Shard.
Splinter
And
Shard.
it's been quite popular. I don't know if you've checked sort of the secondary market prices and the expected value and those kinds of things, but things have been going a little bit crazy over the last 10 or so days as we've revealed parts of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to be able to go share one more little tidbit that might bring some joy into the hearts of Splinter fans the world over.
Well, please bring us some joy. I'm all for.
So,
I'm pro joy.
oh, good. Yeah, we all are. I'll bury the lead a little bit. There's going to be some team tokens, and there's going to be some tokens for liquidity. There's going to be some, like a crap ton, frankly, for play to earn. That's one of the biggest categories, so that the guys that are killing it out there, they're going to get a whole bunch. But the thing that I'm here to announce, the thing that I'm here to share, and the thing that I think so many people are going to want to know is the price per SPS at launch.
Yes, that is something that we all want to know. Price per SPS at launch.
Yes, I just think it's such a critical number to examine, to think through, to just ponder, to just build a little suspense and apprehension.
Oh, you break it up.
8 up. That's hilarious. 1.8 cents each. Were you able to hear that?
1.8
Nail.
cents each?
Yes.
Okay. So Aggie is typing while in a car? I don't know.
No, I'm not typing anything.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the. I guess that's not at launch. I guess launch may. Who knows what's going to happen at launch?
Right. So,
Oops. Yeah,
Yaba has his
yeah,
disclaimer hat on. Not at launch for private token sale.
yeah. Matt's right. So that's at least giving you some number. It's not going to be that at launch. Matt's right. The likelihood is that over time that price will go. Probably. Well, I can't tell you what it's going to do. I'll get in trouble if I tell you what it's going to do. Who knows what the price will be? But assuming that there's a fair amount of demand for this thing, it may not stay at 1.8 cents each. How about that? So Matt's right. That's not the launch point. That's the private token sale price. People have been wondering, and so who knows? Who knows what happens when ICOs or IEOs or any of this stuff happens? Maybe the price stays the same, but at least that's something.
Yeah, that is pretty great stuff. So, Ag, your audio is terrible, so I'm going to put you back in the audience here. Yeah, so that is pretty great alpha to hear from Aggro, co-founder of Splinterlands. That is pretty amazing. So, I'm mixed spreadsheet, so let's do a little bit of math here. So, if we have an estimate of 200 SPS per million airdrop points per day, what does that look like? So, let's see, 200 times 1.8 is, 300, or, so that's in cents. So $3.6 a day for, each million airdrop points. Estimates, all disclaimers apply, blah, 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 times 365. So that's $1,300 worth of airdrop, potentially. So the one thing that sucks, Radon, is the BSC is not for those of us in the US without privacy and IRS issues. So Binance Smart Chain and Binance.com are two different things, Notch. You can be a US person and operate on Binance Smart Chain just fine. Getting funds onto Binance Smart Chain is an issue, but if you're going through Splinterlands, SPS and DEC will be a bridge for you. You won't even have to do it. Worry about it. And then, if you want to do direct bridge, without going through the game, there's, the Leo bridge type mechanics. So, operating on BSC is not a problem. IRS issues, well, that's a whole other thing of, how to declare your crypto on your taxes. And Yab is saying you won't need to use BSC at all to use SPS in the game, and it will be tradable on other platforms as well. Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. So if we're looking at, if that's a real number, $1,300 per million or per million airdrop points in the first year, then that's a lot, right? So what is a million airdrop points? Well, it could be a million collection power. If we go back to our SPS airdrop calculator, it could be a million collection power. It could be a million dark energy crystals. It could be, let's see, what do we got here? It could be a bunch of land. It could be some untamed packs. It could be having a Praetorian title. All of those have at least a private sale value, of that. So Ag thinks he's at 50 million. I'm right around 60 million. So what am I looking at? So we've got 60, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, divided by a million times 200 times, or no, let's just do times 3.6. So that's $216 a day. That's crazy. But that is pretty attractive. And then what is that times 365? 78 grand. I'll take it. Oh man. So obviously who knows what the price of SPS will do over time, but it's like any other economic good. If there's greater demand, if demand pressure is greater than supply pressure, then price will go up. If supply pressure is greater than demand pressure, price will go down. Given the things that we've seen, so crypto in general has been having a rough time the past couple of weeks. Bitcoin's down, again, it's down today. There's this whole colonial pipeline thing, which is the fakest story I've seen in a long, long time. So, but the Bitcoin conference is, I don't know if it's still going on or not, but it was going on in Miami. The president of El Salvador is saying that owner equals nil, ability to sell equals false. Yeah. President of El Salvador saying that he's going to send legislation to his Congress, dictating that, or not, saying that Bitcoin will be recognized as legal tender, won't be subject to capital gains tax or anything. And some people are talking about, it's like, oh, will Bitcoin people move to El Salvador? It's like, no, that's not the point. The point is the remittances. So, remittances are when people from one place go to another place, work, and send money home. Send money back to their family or whatever. And this is a huge thing in Central and South America. They come to the U.S., they go to Europe, they go wherever they have better economic opportunity, and they're sending money back home. So like my in-laws are Ecuadorian, and even though my mother-in-law has been living in the U.S. since she was like 7 years old, so I don't know, 50 plus years now, they still send money to their family, back in Ecuador, and that's a remittance. So if that is the target market for Bitcoin use, now you're talking about people coming in, working in the U.S. or anywhere else, earning fiat currency, doing whatever it is they do, using that fiat to buy Bitcoin, and then sending that Bitcoin back home. Now, obviously, devil's in the details with all these kinds of things, but that would, so that gives the people in El Salvador a, a cryptocurrency to use, which they will then do whatever with. They'll spend it into the local economy, and now you have, El Salvador is dollarized, so they use the U.S. dollar as their local currency. And just like in the EU, when you have a currency that you have no control over, you are subject to the whims of the monetary bodies that do control the currency. So they are subject to the Federal Reserve, essentially. And, if they inflate, 50% of the money supply, like they've done over the past, 18 months, then that's just what happens to them. And they don't have any control over it. If they start to transition a bit and they start, using Bitcoin in their local economy, now it's still the same rule. They're still subject to the monetary authority of Bitcoin, but we all know what that is, right? That's just the mining reward blocks. 6.25 Bitcoin added to the system, every block, roughly every 10 minutes. So, and that's a very, it's really bringing code is law into their monetary system. So that could be huge for them. And other countries are already making noises about following suit. There's been headlines out of Panama and Brazil just over the past day saying that they're looking at the same kind of thing. Brazil's obviously a much bigger market than both of those other ones. So that is huge. But at the same time, we've had this Colonial Pipeline hack, quote unquote hack, ransomware story. So the current version of the story is that Colonial Pipeline, which are the operators of the gasoline fuel pipeline that goes from, I think it goes from Houston, through the southeastern coast of the U.S. and up into Virginia-ish. So the Colonial Pipeline feeds my market in Atlanta, and it got shut down because their systems were ransomwared. So they had, the last version that I saw was that they had like 8 or 10 people sharing one account with one simple plain text password, and that account got compromised, and the hackers put on ransomware. So they pay us whatever it was. I think it was like $90 million in Bitcoin, and then we'll let you operate your pipeline again. So so they pay some amount, right? And the FBI comes out, I guess it was yesterday or overnight, saying that, oh, we have recovered, a bunch of Bitcoin from this, from this hack. And, people are digging into this a little bit. It's like, well, how did you recover that, right? And it's like, oh, well, we had the keys. Like, what do you mean you had the keys? So people do a little bit more digging. Turns out the I'll put in quotes, hackers sent the ransomed Bitcoin to Coinbase for sale, which is just absolutely insane. So, Ron says I'm a conspiracy theorist. Maybe so, because this story does not hold water whatsoever to me. If you're ransoming, a giant company with national security implications for Bitcoin, you wouldn't sell it on Coinbase. That just makes no sense whatsoever. Because if you're smart enough to do the one thing, you're smart enough not to do the other thing. So I obviously don't know the truth of what happened into that. But now that we have an amount and a target address, I think the internet sleuth will be able to backtrack, those coins and see where the Bitcoin came from that they paid the ransomers with. I would not be surprised to find out that Bitcoin came from some government agency. You know, that's just what I'm saying. But the FUD is strong. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Ron did it. Why does he keep getting away with this? So it's the price has been negatively affected. We can see over the last couple of days. We opened yesterday at 35,800, and we hit a low today of 31,013. It's bounced back quite a bit, back up to 33,000. But in a weak trend, this has spooked some people, and it's kind of amazing to watch this play out in real time. But contrasting all that, so Bitcoin's been having a rough time the past few days. All of crypto, the entire crypto market has followed suit along with it. But what hasn't followed suit is Splinterlands prices, because if we go over to Monster Market has a really good tool. I'm sure Splinter Cards does too. Let's see, list price analysis. Oh yeah, I did see. I was checking out this tool earlier. So if we look at the the 1 week change basically of cards, and this you can use this tool to filter by Splinter, by edition, by rarity level, regular or gold. I mean it's a pretty nice tool actually. So you can see that most of these are positive. A couple cards have gone down in price. Drake of Arnak, Soulstorm, Chimera Princess is basically even. Fire Elemental. But, a lot of them, I would say the majority, are positive, and some of them are strongly positive. So, like Cursed Slimeball, up 27% last week. Sniping Narwhal, up 25%. Elven Defender, up 34%. Orc Sergeant's not doing well, down 21%. Car accident, not mind much rain. Okay. So prices are doing pretty well. And, I like to do my own market check on my account, each week, because this is actually the only time I look at it. So let's see. Let's see what we're at. I should probably start keeping track of this week to week. I do include this as part of my monthly snapshot. But yeah, 235, 248, which is quite a bit. I'm pretty happy with that, to say the least. So, it was interesting. During, as we had this bull market that we've gone through in crypto over the last 5-6 months, the percentage of my crypto portfolio that was Splinterlands was decreasing because, not because the total value was increasing, but, the rest of my crypto was increasing faster. And now the reverse is happening. So the total percentage of my crypto portfolio that is Splinterlands is growing once again. And, I'm, before I was actually kind of worried about that, but now with the SPS announcement and the bridging to Binance Smart Chain, I'm a lot less concerned about that. So I'm pleased all around to be having plenty of exposure to Splinterlands. So it's all good. Basically, that will teach me to own things other than Splinterlands. Yeah, it's true. I got I do have my whale rules though. So if you never heard this before, my whale rules are that whatever you're doing in crypto, Neil should power up some Hive. I just spent all my Hive. That 50 Hive that I sent to T-Hawks is all of it. So, the whale rules are that whatever you're doing in crypto, crypto is an extremely volatile asset, or an asset class. So, I mean, we're talking about, assets that, go 10x frequently. Sometimes you go 100. My Rune, even though it's down 50% over the past week, it's up 100x for me because I bought in at 11 cents. Has it been a year? Yeah, it was summer of last year, I think. So, it's when you have these giant moves, you have to consider, it's like, well, is it worth diversifying and having a little bit spread out amongst a lot of things? And I would say no, because not everything's going to go 10x. So if you have a dollar in 10 things and one of them goes 10x, well, now you have $19. But if you put that $10 into one thing, and that goes 10x, you have $100. So the key to the whole thing is finding things that you have a strong belief will do well, and then placing your bets on those things and then waiting, which is the HODL mentality, I guess. So with my whale rules, I am heavily invested are heavily speculating on just a few things. One is Splinterlands. That's actually, now my largest single position. I've got Cub, one of the yield farming projects from Legal Finance. I've got some Bitcoin. I've got some Rune, and I think that's it. So I've got a smattering of other things from before I started implementing my whale rules rigorously. Like I've got a little bit of bat. So that is it. And by picking projects that have legs that will do well over time, those whale rules sound suspiciously like Warren Buffett rules. That is true. It's a crypto modification of Warren Buffett's rules. So his famous rules are that rule number 1 is don't lose money. Rule number 2 is refer back to rule number 1. But he has another rule that says, don't diversify. Put all your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket very closely. So that is the Buffett whale rule. This is very, very similar. And, he does follow that. If you look at the Berkshire Hathaway, the investor disclosure letters and everything, they've got, for a company that is the size of Berkshire Hathaway, they have very few positions, maybe 30 or something. And, even within that, it's very Pareto distributed. It's 80-20. There's like Coca-Cola. I think they recently divested most of their Wells Fargo. But, there's just like a handful of companies that they have a lot of money in. And, their favorite time horizon is forever. It's just sit on dividends. Similarly, you can do the same kind of thing with Splinterlands. And, as game functionality is added, with lands expansion and the governance tokens, and who knows what else comes out of the governance tokens, because that's really opening it up to the player base to kind of do whatever the players want. So it's a project that is paying dividends, in many different ways. So I'm pretty excited to get, what was the number, $200 a day, at least at private sale price valuations for SPS, and we'll see how those actually end up trading, on the market. My guess, and this is pure speculation on my part and not financial advice. My guess is that if SPS opens in that 1 to 2 cent range, then it'll rise quickly. And Solo's saying POS coins, proof of stake coins, are a lot like dividend producing assets as well. That is true. And that was my original entrance into Steam. In fact, my first post on Steam was how a financial guy, I forget the title, how a financial guy invests in crypto or something like that. So, it basically was like having a portfolio and then using Steam to generate income to go back into the portfolio and reinvest. That ended up not being the model I'm with now, but it was a good start. The problem is that the market price of Steam and then Hive has not held up over time. So we went through the whole bear cycle from 2017 to 2020. Steam and Hive, however you want to count it, dropped by 95%, and no amount of 30% internal growth will counteract that total valuation drop. So that was a flaw in that whole plan. So you have to also pick assets that do well. And Yab is bringing up a good point that that's just the airdrop. There's also SPS from play to earn and staking. Yeah, the play to earn is going to be pretty interesting. So it's I imagine that people who are in Champion will be staking on themselves. People on Diamond maybe, but the lower league players will probably be staking on those top level players. And that'll depend a bit on exactly what the ratios are, how much those diminishing returns are, and how much those diminishing returns force the stake of SPS to be spread out over the players. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting to see how all that shakes out. There will be some popularity element to it. So like if Yasik goes into Discord and says, hey, people, I need so and so, SPS staked on me to play, then he's probably going to get it. One of the top players in the game consistently does really well in the season rankings. But there's also the more rigorous, financially minded people. Plenty of large portfolio owners in Splinterlands are very numbers oriented, and they'll look at the distributions of things and place their SPS accordingly. But yeah, if we look at the chart from that I pasted earlier, where did it go? Scrolling up. Yeah. So the staking and play to earn is going to be, a good chunk. Let's see. Staking LP Oracle rewards, 900 million over 65 months. And, it's a bit nonlinear with the, initial ramp up and then the slope curving down a bit. I'm trying to stir the pot a little bit. How do you address the rumors that Splinterlands is discriminatory against birthing people? Oh, man. I don't know what that means. That's probably the best answer, yeah. Even though, you might be a bigot for not knowing what it means, at least you're not actively insulting people, right? But it all works. So, I'm pretty bullish on the whole thing. I mean that's the summary. I am looking forward to SPS. Oh, actually, another great feature of the Splinter cards is the roadmap. So that made this page, which is actually pretty great. So I can't believe I haven't seen this person around in Discord. But if anybody knows T-Hawks, then tell them they did a great job. And just since Flowers in the audience, TBD boss fights. Flowers been wanting boss fights for like 2 years now. But yeah, so we're in Q2. Security review and updates, that's already been done, so that should be marked completed. Guild Brawls V2, new card delegation and rental system, Praetoria map release, land claims redemption. That's going to be super exciting. And then Q3, July, we get the SPS airdrop beginning and all that whole system starting to be implemented. So I am excited for the next 6 months. And I'm still calling for lands to be Christmas. I know they've been saying Q4, but it's going to be the end of Q4, basically. that's my. It's on the map. Yeah, it's on the map, but TBD. It has no calendar associated with it. So but that's a step. Splintermas, yes, absolutely. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. And we're looking to sell out of lands here in the next week-ish. Now, while we've been on the show, another tract has been sold. 10,401 plots left. It's if you want to have some plots and you don't have any yet, say your time is running out. But one thing I wanted to do, which I guess we don't have time for, was looking at all the different land types, and it's going to take a lot to have at least one of everything. Yeah, so Paul's saying different phases for the land. You would think, yes, that will absolutely be the case. But as far as initial functionality, I'm saying Christmas. Where you can do something, and then you'll be able to do more things over time. With the staking of the monsters and summoners, and building more buildings, and getting those resources, and then the crafting and all that kind of stuff. But if you just look at the land types and the categories and the rarities, then it's a lot. What if alpha is tokenized? Is it still airdropped? That's a good question. I would assume yes, but I don't know. So it's so we've got, what is it, 14 land types? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yes, 14 land types, four different categories. Within those categories, we've got, different types of natural, the different magical, amounts, the essences. Each essence there's gonna be 6 of those, so one for each splinter. And then we've got the 4 different rarity levels. So, if you do the permutations out there, it's a lot to have at least one of everything. And I want to have one of everything. So that's why I now have 2 regions. And then I have my 38 random plots that I got from liquidity provision rewards. And, my personal plan is I'm going to reveal those, figure out what they are, and then, maybe keep them, maybe not, depending on what I have available in the regions. And last thing was we got an updated region screenshot last AMA, which I'm pretty excited about. So you can see the hex is, the whole region, and then we have the different tracks, and then you can see the orangey reddish stuff is the castles and the keeps. So pretty cool stuff. Things are moving along, and I can't wait until we get some SPS. That'll be the next big thing. So thanks everybody for coming by. This hour just kind of blows by sometimes, and we'll see you again next week, basically.